say? I've eaten today.
I have eaten today.
I have eaten today.
Like what? That's just it. Like,
Yeah, like
I have eaten today. I have eaten today. Nothing else.
that's just it.
Sorry.
Okay. My name is Bukola, and this is
it recording?
It is.
Oh, yeah, was it recording?
It has been recorded. My name is Bukola, and this is the job series. And my hostess,
Chima.
Okay. Chima, you went to Georgia Tech, right?
Yes, I did.
What did you study?
So I started off with studying aerospace engineering. That's what I came in as. And then towards midway through, I switched to computer science, and that's what I graduated with. So I had my undergrad and master's in computer science.
You have your undergrad and master's
In computer science.
How was that? Was it hard, difficult?
To switch?
I'm not necessarily to switch. I would imagine like computer science in the whole is pretty much, it's a lot of work, especially when you're doing it as a master's degree.
So for it was hard. For the masters, it wasn't. Once you enter like grad level courses, it's actually a bit more relaxed.
For the masters?
No, masters are generally most grad. Once you enter like grad level, once you're done with the undergrad, the professors are like, it's less about like that and more like you focus more on research, like doing new stuff because you've already gone through the learning portion when you did undergrad.
Okay.
No, that's just the easiest thing to say. I feel like that.
What language do you speak?
Igbo.
Igbo. Are you fluent?
Why? You seem skeptical.
I mean, do you want to say something?
In Igbo.
Okay, let me give you a statement to say. Okay. So, you look into the camera and you say, I've eaten today. You look into the camera and you say, I've eaten today.
I have eaten today.
I have eaten today.
Like, what? That's just it. Like,
yeah, like
I have eaten today. I have eaten today. Nothing else.
That's just it. For Igbo.
I don't know. I don't know what else. Like, I feel like it has to. You have to say something else with it. You can't just say.
Okay, say something else with it. Then you tell me what you said with it.
How to say? I'm trying to think of like peanut butter or like what I ate today.
Okay, how about I've eaten? And please do try to be vocal a little bit. How about you say I've eaten lunch today? Is that more? Or do you have
Is this recording now?
Yeah, it's still recording.
You're going to have so much fun. Let me see. I don't know what the word for. So,
okay.
Umri is like I've eaten, but I'm trying to see like.
So umri, how about it? Umri.
That's like
Umri.
Umri. I feel like I'm also using my American accent to say Igbo too. I'll try to.
Umri.
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 Ri is it's like.
It's so is what? Oh, okay. Umri. Tacos, chipotle, yeah. Chipotle, yeah.
Exactly. So you need to that one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, umri coffee, yeah.
No, there's not. No, you can't eat coffee.
Oh yes, drink. Okay.
No,
coffee. Oh, I don't know. That was so good. No coffee. Yeah, that sounds better. Yeah, okay.
Please don't roast my. I understand more than I can speak.
I mean, same thing. I would say Would you say like the new generation right now, that the new generations of like Nigerians that are growing up are losing the language little by little?
Yes, because I feel like but one thing I think I really liked is for some reason I have both Igbo and Yoruba friends. I feel like it was less of my Igbo friends, less of my Igbo friends. No, the Yoruba people kept their, like, they speak Yoruba, they still speak Yoruba, even to their parents. But my Igbo friends, they don't usually speak it to their parents. I feel like it's stronger with Yoruba. I genuinely don't know why, or like it's just, this is purely based on my own experience. It's not factual, but it's just like that.
Okay. I mean, I don't have a lot of. I would say I don't have a lot. I don't have Igbo friends.
Mhm.
I mean, there's like acquaintance, but they're like
Some-
friends, yeah, but friends. No, I don't have Igbo friends. They're mostly Yorubas, and the Yorubas. Okay, the Yorubas, I would say they've been on this channel before. I've interviewed them before. Yes, they don't necessarily speak the Yoruba, but they understand it.
Mhm.
So they understand it, but just to speak it, I don't know why it's a problem. But I mean,
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that too. Yeah.
okay, because even for me too, I understand Yoruba, and I try to speak it as much as possible because I know at some point you start losing something you're not frequently doing. So I try to speak it as much as possible, especially with my mom. But with my friends, even when I speak it, they don't respond with Yoruba. It's English, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
To school here.
Yeah.
So when you actually can talk about this one, Canada and UK, because I looked into those
Stop
two.
it. Just leave me for.
So for the so back in Ghana, I did the British curriculum. So I did IGCSE and A levels. Wow, I remember those. Yeah, I did those two. And to get into school in the UK, those are sort of the ones you really require for those is IGCSE and A levels. A levels is sort of like the entry level.
Would that be way?
It's somewhat equivalent to WIAC.
Okay.
Somewhat equivalent to WIAC. But it's like the Cambridge entrance exam is how I like to think of it. It's like Cambridge's exam.
I don't know what that is.
Cambridge is like the big university in the UK. Okay. So they set this test. So like doing well on that test is like, if you do well on that test, they'll be like, okay, this is good signal of how well you can do at that school. And that school sets like the standard for most of the other UK schools. Now for if you come to the US, you have to take these tests called the SATs. I don't know, did you take the SATs?
Yeah, I think okay.
Okay. Because when you take the process to come to the US, almost all universities require an SAT. So I took that one. Then there's also SAT 2 that I also took because I already knew it was basically transferable. I could use what I learned in my A levels and take the SAT 2. And I also did well in those two as well. The two SATs. I think I did math and chemistry. I think, or was it math and physics? I did my SAT.
Okay, so a question. To get like a good mark on SAT or whatever exam you have to take to actually come down here to study, do you have to be brilliant?
You just have to practice, like a lot of practice, and it's not like I'll say it's more something that you should practice than anything because it's a skill. That's one thing I really liked about the SATs. Like it's a skill. It's something you can like take the test. You can see your score go up.
You can take the again. Okay. Okay, so getting done with school, how was it like? Just I would say moving to like being a working class because I feel like it was a transition smooth for you.
So you're saying the transition from school to work?
Yeah, work, yeah.
That was a big. It was a very big change for me because I know in school, when you're in school, you have everything set for you.
Yes.
So you have like a schedule, you have like a class schedule.
Yeah.
You have like all these things that like set. But when you're at work, another thing with school is that another thing I've noticed between school and work is that I feel like now that I'm done with school, I have a lot more free time on my weekends versus when I was still studying, both for the masters or undergrad. The night before, like a Sunday like this, would be used for like prepping what assignments are due this week, what projects do I have to write, what do I have to do for that. So that's one. I think the other thing with when I transitioned it was kind of scary because you're now like, okay, I've gone from this structure that I've known to like everything. Like for instance, when I came, I remember the first thing when like I'll give one very small example is like renter's insurance. Almost any place that you want to live require you to get renter's insurance.
Yes.
It's not mandatory. It's not mandatory at school.
It's not mandatory on campus or.
It's not mandatory on campus when you're on campus or or just small things like that, or like suddenly now you're paying for your electricity bill, your water.
Okay, so
bills,
before in school, everything is together.
Yeah, everything is just like they just give you
like one payment,
fee.
and that's what you pay.
And I stayed on campus, that's why. So I stayed mostly on campus, mostly in dorms on campus. So all these fees were already inside. Like it's just one time payment and you can use it. There's just small things like that it's just like, okay, now you have to do like another instance, like on campus we have our own Wi-Fi. Now you have to buy your own Wi-Fi. You have to look through.
But I mean, you also pay for like Wi-Fi, even though campus like that comes with your tuition.
It does come with your tuition, but it's all just like one fee
not
that you just like don't look
at.
like
separately,
But now I have to like think through all these
calculate all those small
things.
Okay. Career-wise, we had a conversation before about how people don't necessarily think about, or would I say things they don't naturally tell you, or things you don't know when picking your career or your line of study.
Yes.
So do you want to talk more on that?
So I think when I first started, I think I spoke earlier on this, I came in as aerospace engineering.
Yeah.
And then I transitioned to computer science. Part of the there are two reasons I transitioned. The first was I didn't really feel as passionate about the degree anymore. The second one was because I quickly realized, maybe this also fell to the passion. To the passionate aspect. I quickly realized that most of the work in that industry, the aerospace industry,
Aerospace?
it's owned by defense. It's owned by U.S. defense.
Owned by everything or most of it?
Most of it.
So there's no private sector?
There is private sector, but there's not like 4 companies that I could actually feasibly work in. So
aerospace?
Yeah.
In the whole of the United States?
They're like, so Airbus, Safran, Honda Pilot, and I can't remember the last one, Intel drones. Those are kind of like the 4 like, if you're an international student doing aerospace, those are kind of like your options.
For a private company,
And Delta now.
Delta now does aerospace. Okay. So, you stick to, what did you call it?
Computer science.
No,
aerospace.
The other. So the government one is
So like, almost everything is government. Like Lockheed Martin. These are.
No, you said something of defense.
Defense? Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are like defense. Like all these companies are U.S. companies.
Yeah, like, and that they're owned by the government.
They have contracts with the government. They work very closely with the government.
So that's a government work. Mm-hmm. So as an international student, can you do a government work?
You can, but in aerospace specifically, there's this thing called ITAR, International Trade Access Restrictions, that prohibits international students from working on these.
Could you please repeat that again?
Oh yeah. So it's called ITAR. It's plastered all over the aerospace building.
So as an international student, there's this thing that restricts people.
ITAR, yeah.
Is it because of confidential? Is it because of leakage of information and stuff like that?
Yeah. Because all these things, like some of these companies, like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, they make missiles for the U.S. government, or like aircrafts and rockets or things for the U.S. government. So it's just like more of like keeping
it with them.
Keeping it with them.
That makes sense. Wow. So that's why you switched to computer science.
That I could technically also see myself doing the, even if not without that, I could also see myself working as like a, there's other roles that allow you. I wouldn't be an aerospace engineer, I would be more of like a field engineer or something like that. But the other reason why I switched was because I quickly realized I wasn't as passionate about my courses anymore. Like I didn't like the courses. Looking ahead, there are a few threads you have to pick, or like a few paths you could choose to further, and none of them really appealed to me. None of them was like interesting to me. The one that did interest me was called controls and systems. That's more into robotics, and that is just CS adjacent. It's also it's a crossover like between aerospace and CS, computer science. So that was also my first signal of like, okay, maybe what I actually like is not really with aerospace engineering.
Okay, so would you say right now? I know a lot of stuff are actually driving towards like tech and stuff like that, but I feel like it's reduced a bit. Unlike before, whereby tech was like the booming job.
Like working in tech.
Yeah.
Like when you say tech, like the, oh, I see what you mean. Like computer
Yeah,
science,
like
yeah.
computer science. Like I would say before it was like this huge. It was this working space whereby everyone has to be in because that was like the booming area. But right now it has reduced.
I would say there's, so right now I think I get what you're saying. I think right now there are still roles at tech, but because of the economy, because of the fear of recession, they're more of like
United States is in recession.
really, are they in a recession? they're, that's the claim. That's the claim, is that
Okay.
because of the recession, people are hiring more conservatively, and there are a lot more layoffs happening, things like that. So it's, but to be honest, I would definitely say that like the field of tech could use more people of color. If I'm being brutally honest, it's very lopsided.
People, and this is based off of your experience. Would you say okay? So I understand. I understand that you haven't. Well, I understand you haven't lived Georgia, or you haven't worked outside of Georgia. So your experience will probably be based on what you're currently facing right now in
So
Atlanta, Georgia.
most of the teams I've worked with have been teams in Seattle, California,
Cross states,
India.
cross country.
Yeah, um, yeah. Those are the teams I've sort of worked with.
And you would say tech industry, it's
Tech industry overall, it's very bad. It's very bad. It's very, like I think right now it's like 3 to 8%. So I'm just quoting. I think it's like 3 to 8%. Like, let's just say 5% people in tech, like people of color. Yeah.
because I literally I did thought that like majority of the people. Okay, so like aside from the people that go to school that I talk to, majority of people I talk to, they're like either in tech or they're doing something within tech or they're doing IT or something, just something within tech. So I thought like there was like a lot of black people in tech.
So when you say that, piece is interesting because when I say tech, I mean more of like the software development roles, like
Software development is specific,
Yeah, software development,
not
as well.
IT.
Like not. I don't.
What's the difference? Like
So IT to me is more of like hardwiring, like I like cables, like doing stuff like that. That's how Chima read IT,
okay, so coding.
or like development, or like software development. It's a very big field. So software development is a very big field. That is what, to me, usually whenever you say tech, or like I think of like places like Silicon Valley, that's where I mean when I say tech. Places like that, or work like that, work around that. So like either something like software development, product management, or XD, user research, things like that. Those are very more specialized things around software development, like building a software, not just IT specific.
So tech encompass like all these different areas.
Yeah.
and they're uniquely different. Like they do different stuff.
Yeah.
But even though they do different stuff, if okay, let's say you're a software developer, can you easily bounce to like coding?
I did that. I did. So I started off with like software development. I was like also very much like aerospace. This is it. I don't like this much. So I decided to pivot to product management, which is what I do now.
Yeah, I was gonna say your food. I was gonna say food, and I was like, your food is it's quite interesting. It's actually quite because I've seen what you. So they're quite interesting. They're quite interesting. So that's why I was like, do I really want to ask the question? Or no. Okay. Okay. So let's say food. Okay. So I've known you for a while, and I feel like you've sort of like adapted to more of like the American style of eating. Yes.
Yes.
Unlike people like us that will be looking for amala and vegetable, which makes your own life easier because then it's an easy access. You go to stores and you find it. Well, for people like me, I have to like drive to look for an African store to get food. Okay, so what would you say led you to like maybe just like detaching a little bit
From I get what you're saying. So I think, to be honest, thinking back now, I think even in Ghana, I was very open to trying their own food. I was very, very open to trying their own food. So I think it was much easier for me when I came here to be able to find. This is why I adapted, as you said. The first, the first week, the first 2 weeks I came, I was looking for Nigerian food. I think it was just by experience. The first place I went to, I don't know if people in Atlanta know this place, it's called Ike's.
oh yeah
It's an experience. It's an experience. So I was like, there's no way I can do this. This is not like a sustainable. This is a yes. I think you agree. This is not.
yeah,
This is not a
it's not,
sustainable.
especially if you don't know how to cook at home.
Yes.
It's not. Also, do you know how to cook it?
Yes. I do not have to. I do not have
Okay,
to.
but you just don't go for
I just don't go for the.
okay.
And then the second time, I was not like, okay, I tried a few other restaurants, but it was more of like a sit down restaurant, like the places where you have to sit down. The place. Then I also tried. Okay, I was like, one time I want to go cook. So me and my friend went to the Nigerian supermarket there, and we got stuff. Also, I remember at that point, I think Uber Uber was like 50 or like it was very steep. And so we were
Just
like
to
just to go there. So all these things were basically like sort of like it wasn't
controversial,
it
yeah.
wasn't it was not going to be sustainable. It
Yeah,
was not going to be sustainable.
okay, okay, I see your point. When you don't have a car to move you around a lot, it's hard to actually get stuff like that
Yes.
because you have to drive a long distance to get either from a restaurant or to get like raw food.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, you can actually order Nigerian food from a restaurant, but let's say you want to cook it from home, like even stores that are like there are some stores that also offer like they go shop for you and they bring the food. They don't offer that for a lot of Nigerian food. They don't offer that for like a lot of Nigerian stores. So I see where you're coming from. It could be very hard if you don't have a car to actually take you down there and bring you back. Especially in this city, like the restaurant is just outside the city.
Yes.
Even the market is outside the city. I don't understand. And there's mad traffic here too.
And all of this costs money. And again, this is still in school, and then there was free food at school. So it's just
Yeah, I get you.
yeah, because of
Okay. Question. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't want to put it that way. I'm looking for where I can put it.
who's what?
Okay, let me just put it this way. What's your dating experience like?
Yeah.
I mean, you've only lived in Georgia. It's Like you moved to different states.
It's been interesting. It's been very interesting. I think I've talked about this too. I've talked to my friends. I think so. Back home, when I was when you're dating back home, the big thing back home is like what tribe you're from.
Oh yes.
Where's your home?
Tribalism, yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. That's that's the big thing back home. It's like even when you're in Ghana and all that, it's like it's basically somewhat nationality, tribalism, things like that. Here it's very different. It's more of like there's not just that. It's also more of like I feel like this one of the big things that hit me when I came was seeing basically other people, other races. So it's not as prevalent when you're back in Ghana or Nigeria. You don't have as much like either Latino. I don't
Yeah.
think you have Latino.
I don't think so.
Or
So it's
like,
more Chinese and
like
well,
white people or things like that. And then here it's more of like
so yeah, back home it's not there isn't that much of mixed race. Tribalism is the problem.
yes,
But yeah,
like,
race is the problem.
I wouldn't say it's a problem. It's definitely something that like I feel like you just naturally you I find that you connect more with people who you have more in common. Just naturally. So you have more in common with if you have more in common with like race and nationality, because I can give you an instance of where you can have a like Black American. We share the same race, but we're not the same nationality. You see?
Let me try passing you there. So just so let's say when you're trying to like be specific of looking for someone you can share something more in common with, does that make you look like someone that's not open minded?
Oh no, I was very open minded when I came to the when I started my dating. I was very very open minded. When I was white people, like everything, I wasn't picky, so to speak. But it's also just like genuinely, I find that it's just more difficult to. You need for any relationship. I've been. This would be. I think I've been like two other relationships. For any relationship like truly thrive, you need like some things that like you both enjoy or like something that you can both like core like how to explain, like something you both that's like you click. That's usually when people say it's like you click with someone on something or something like that. I just find like it's if I find in a white person,
Okay.
like it's not like I'm not
So
closed off
it
to
will be
that.
like a race stuff.
It's not just race. It's not just race because like even small stuff like food, like we don't have vegetarians back. like,
I mean,
like it's
we
not
don't know. It's not
exactly right.
vegetarians in
But like
Nigeria.
so like not just that's what I'm trying to say. It's like not just race or culture. It's more of like even small things like from that come out of those things like food, what you like to do, and things like that. Or like
Yeah, or stuff you probably
yeah.
engage in like for example. So I do hiking. I go to the mountains and from your perspective, you say you don't understand why.
Yeah, I said I do.
You say you don't understand why why people we just decide that they want to go to the mountains. But my friends actually say you're doing white people stuff.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. Your friends are not wrong. That's what I'm saying. Your friends are not
okay,
wrong.
so I think that's one thing. Yeah, when you have a partner that is,
Sorry, continue.
it's not what people think. It's just like exercise.
It is exercise. Like
Yeah,
right
it's
now, I ran today. I don't
That's a
know
white person
exactly.
too.
It's white people.
So
Like I ran on a park trail, which is very peak white people. Very peak like white people.
I mean, I do, but I understand where you
Yeah,
come from. I
exactly.
mean, you want to actually have a partner that you have something in common.
Yeah,
At least something,
not just like I don't know. Yeah, you need like some commonality. Like relationships, when you enter a relationship, you shouldn't struggle. It shouldn't be like a struggle because you ideally for relationships to foster, they foster are when you're doing stuff together, or when you're talking, or when you're doing like, and that comes from shared ground or shared interest or things like that.
Okay. So career wise, what advice will you give?
I'll say it like to. It doesn't have to be tech. Like find a niche, find probably a good niche in tech that you're because it's a very big field. That's you can definitely. It's very big and something big enough you can find your passion in. So you don't have to just do it just because of the money. So if you find anything like
And this is specifically for tech and people interested in tech.
yeah, if you're interested, I'll say
every other people that are not interested in tech, like me.
What do you what's my advice?
Just oh yeah, do you have an advice for that?
For people who are not
in tech.
Okay. I've been so invested in this one. Let me see. So if you're not invested in tech, find a role in tech.
Find a what?
You find a role in tech.
Find a role in tech.
I'm joking. It's more of like if I feel like
you can find a job in a tech company that you don't necessarily have to do tech, but
like I don't know. Like generally, I feel like the other thing is like another thing I've also seen, like just generally, this is also for myself. One actual genuine big advice is that like I feel like sometimes you get into this mindset of like you make your work eat up your life. It's something I've seen. It's something that's happened. I have to be able to like set boundaries for myself. I was like, okay, after this time, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to work on anything after this time because it's super easy. Especially when you're coming from, it happens very very early when you're starting your career because you're still in that school mindset where like work is always ongoing. So I had to like be able to set boundaries for work and be like, you can't have your manager just call you on a Friday night or like
time management.
Yeah, like things like that. Genuinely,
and what's it called again? Work life balance.
Yes, it's very big. It's very big and something that can like actually eat up your
it can easily just like you can easily overlook it. You can easily overlook it, especially if you're working from home. You can easily overlook it. Overlook the fact that you have like you're working from this time to this time and that's it. But if you're working from home, you usually have this mindset that if your manager is doing it till this time, you should be able to do it till that time, as long as the work is done. And that's.
Someone told me something actually last year. The work will get done.
Yeah, it will be.
With or without you.
Yeah.
With or without. Yeah, I think sometimes we just get obsessed on the with me part.
Yeah, with me part. Yeah.
But the work will get done. So just basically make space, make time.
Okay. Well, Chima, thank you very much.